Welcome to a new daily top Askreddit video. Today's topic. Non-Americans have read it. What's something someone can say that indirectly screams I'm an American? I'm American, but there's a story here that would apply. I moved to Taiwan when I was in middle school. Since my parents were Taiwanese, I grew up speaking Mandarin, and it didn't take a long time for me to shake off the American accent when speaking. Initially, people would be like, "Oh, an American," when I said literally anything, but gradually, it turned into, "Oh, you're American." And eventually, people stopped even bringing it up. Then one day, we went to a new doctor's office, to get updates on our vaccines. The doctor was very polite and professional. We chatted a bit, she stuck me with a needle, and started filling out some paperwork, and she asked, "Are you getting these shots because you're returning to America?" And I was shook. Hadn't heard that question in years, not from a stranger. I said, "Oh man, yeah, that's right, I'm getting ready to travel again." What gave me away? And she responded, "Americans, when you prick them, they say ow. Taiwanese locals say ah." That always gives them away. I feel like I heard somewhere that this is an issue in the world of espionage, since it's an easy way to out someone and it's such an involuntary thing. Asterisk asterisk yes, like the German thing and the three fingers. Same with filler sounds, depending on your native language, when you're focusing, thinking or confused you're probably going to say some variation of a, et ut up m and so on. These filler sounds follow a trend based on your native language. For example, Americans tend to learn towards and even though we both speak English, Australians tend to use /r and m. It's partly the accent, but because people involuntarily make these filler noises, people who are putting on an accent forget to affect the filler sounds, and it can default to their natural accent. A Russian spy comes to a cafe and orders a tea. He starts drinking it when a waiter comes up to him. "You must be Russian spy. How did you find out? You left the spoon in the cup. Only Russians do that." Next time the spy walks into the cafe, orders a tea, puts in sugar, doesn't leave the spoon in the cup. A waiter comes to him. "Oh, you must be a Russian spy. How the fuck did you find out? There is no spoon in the cup, but you hold your thumb like it is there." Third time the spy walks there, orders a tea, puts in sugar, doesn't leave the spoon in the cup, and holds the cup properly. A waiter comes to him. "Oh, you must be a Russian spy. Are you kidding me? How? The spoon is not in the cup, your thumb is okay, but you closed your right eye so the spoon wouldn't hit it when you take a drink." Depends on what state you're in. I live outside the US right now, and this is the answer to the majority of questions I get about home. I probably say this every day. What's the most common question you get? Where are you from? I'm from asterisk insert random American country town. No, I mean what country? Once a guy, online, replied London. I commented on how late it was there. He said no, it was morning. Turned out he was in London, Ohio. Usually when someone says y'all. How about all y'all? Edit, this is hilarious. I'm just now getting back to my phone for the first time since I made this comment earlier. Didn't expect all these comments. Y'all refers to those you are addressing, while all y'all includes everyone in earshot. Calling all black people African American. Like we come from different places and have different cultures. Ha. In science class we had a kid stand up and talk about the difference between African American elephants and Asian elephants. Blew his mind when we explained that African elephants are just from Africa. And an Asian elephant is more closely related to woolly mammoths than it is to African elephants. Using Miss and Sir. None of my customers use it except Americans. Years ago I was doing work in Germany. I was on the call with a client and I answered yes sir, no sir the whole time. He was like, "Were you ever in the US military?" I was like, "No, I was just always taught to say that." Didn't realize how American it is. Edit, for clarification, I am from Texas. Only some Americans. I notice it with Southerners a lot. I never use sir and m. You must have never been to the comment section on Indian English YouTube videos. I work as a programmer and even in their code comments they are all diligently formal. I can tell a comment or error message was written by an Indian if an instruction starts with the word kindly. I'm 1/3 Irish on my mother's side. I work in a hotel in the UK and 2 Americans checked in a couple of weeks ago. We legally have to ask for their passport details. We don't even, as far as I know, have to check the passport or photocopy it, just ask them to fill in their nationality and passport number. To be honest, the law is a relic of the Cold War, but we are still meant to do it, so we do. Under passport details, nationality, one of them wrote Irish German. I want to downvote you just for what they wrote. Part of the issue is how we confuse the terms ethnicity with nationality. I am ethnically Latino or Hispanic. My nationality is 100% USA, American. School spirit. I work in an international school with lots of American colleagues. The expectation to be excited about everything is a lot, but I see why it would be infectious if you were brought up in the States. I do like when the European teachers are all grouped together awkwardly, not knowing what to do with the spirit and cheer. As an extension of this, varsity sports. I attended the biggest university in Canada, and our football stadium and hockey arena were _techy. Meanwhile, the Americans pack tens of thousands into theirs for every game. In fairness, UofT isn't very sports-oriented. My friend went to Guelph and the football team was pretty popular. Nothing like the States though. I feel this so hard. I'm the only American working for an Irish company and my constant enthusiasm is exhausting for them. Thing is, I'm not even that excited for an American. I'm pretty morose and low-key, but even that is too much for them. Irish person here. Had an American colleague yell "Go team!" and go for the high five over a decade ago. I still think about. It was a very awkward exchange. Yes. American that lived in East Anglia for a couple of years. I was frequently mortified by how overly enthusiastic I was about just about everything. I also noticed that I force a smile in situations and Brits do not. It was a relief after a while to not smile so much. It's actually kind of stress-inducing to constantly smile. And same, I'm pretty low-key for an American, but in England, I often felt like a golden retriever puppy that hadn't learned to sit. LOL. Debating about who is a better president candidate in a YouTube comment section, while the video isn't even political. As an American, that is something I see a lot, and Nixon was a pretty good president. Listen here, you little shit. When I was stationed in Yogsa, South Korea, I had to take part in what was known as town patrol. Basically, we wrangled up drunk soldiers who were out past curfew. You could usually tell an American soldier from any of the other folks hanging around. For those that have never been, Yogsa is in the middle of Seoul, one of the biggest cities in the world and a melting pot of culture. Most younger American soldiers usually ran around wearing hoodies with various American sports teams, kind of a dead giveaway. It's even funnier when they try to fake a British accent and don't know any British slang to go with it. When me and my mate were traveling around Australia in our early 20s, both of us are Northern English, with unusual accents. We were trying to woo a couple of delightful ladies, limited success. That were part of the crew of a US Navy aircraft carrier who were on shore leave whilst visiting Sydney. They were loading and offloading crew at the Darling Harbour area of Sydney. There was lots of bars there, via tenders. Now there was hundreds of crew milling about as they had a curfew to get back on board, so they were all gathering waiting for the next tender. At this point the Navy police, I don't know what the proper name for them is, I'll call them provosts, started to corral all these young men and women and started to process them onto the tenders. This is when we realized we had accidentally been herded into the pack, so me and my mate decided to make our farewells and disappear into the night for more dirty deeds elsewhere. We managed to get about 10 paces from the herd when we were manhandled to the floor by a group of burly Navy provosts, who started aggressively demanding we hand over our ID and suggesting we'd been really stupid to blatantly disobey the curfew order, going ashore without ID and being too drunk to speak properly. We weren't, we just had weird Northern English accents. Well, we were both English, hadn't done a single hour in any military service, and very much not part of the crew of an American aircraft carrier. We were cuffed with zip ties and led to a waiting tender when the officer in charge quickly realized that we were just a pair of drunk Brits looking for some tush in the wrong place at the wrong time and promptly released us. That is my story of how I was captured by the US Navy. This was a great story. If you had let them take you a bit further, you probably would have gotten a free helicopter ride back to shore. Recommending a brand of medication. Apparently medications are advertised on TV. Yep, they sure are. I was taking a walking tour in Ireland once and the guide mentioned Notre Dame for some reason. This American guy tried to correct her pronunciation as Notre Dame, not Notre Dame. It was a wildly uncomfortable few minutes. I've heard people attempt to correct French tour guides in Paris. It makes my ears bleed. Assuming everyone else is American in the comment section. I see it all the time here on Reddit or on YouTube. People on here will have intense debates over constitutional law in the comments section despite both a. Only knowing about the Constitution what they learned on Reddit and b. in the comments of a news article about Australia. You're talking about the comment section of every article about Australia's gun control laws, aren't you?